Good morning, friends. How are you today? Despite the haziness, it's actually a really nice weather day out here. There's no wind, which isn't good because it doesn't clear the smoke, but at the same time, it's still kind of cool. So this morning we've got a little bit of a project to do. Let me see if I can't. I'm gonna be putting you in an awkward spot to get your shot. Okay, so if you remember, a few months ago we planted out the two Mr. Stacky with some strawberry plants. Now there's a combination of things that's going on over there. Number one, there's not quite enough room circumference-wise in each of the tiers for the everbearing strawberries, and the other strawberries are kind of flagging too. And also we've got some bad soil in there, which is going to be replaced with all of these. Also, you can see we've had some weed barrier breakdown over in here. That's all the grass in the mulch area, so I'm going to be taking those guys down, planting them in a new GreenStalk that we've got, slightly different from these guys over here. We got the leaf, 7-tier leaf GreenStalks. So those guys are all going to be going into one of those. I'm going to lay some weed barrier down. I'm going to put some mulch down and get this situation in that section taken care of. And I think that'll be our project for this morning. So I've got my tea, I've got you, I've got the dogs. Let's get going on it. Okay, so while I'm attempting to break into this bag of worm castings, wanted to just kind of recap. If you haven't seen the previous videos where I put together the original 5-tier GreenStalk, I kind of wanted to just talk about that for a second. Excuse my dog. I don't know what she's barking at. Probably the chickens. Well, the rooster to be more precise. Okay, so anyway, squirrel, it's that time of the morning. When it comes to container gardening, soil is everything. Now, from what you've probably seen just in this, I'm not sure, I didn't pay any attention to see if this got those GreenStalks in, but we have a issue of, we bought an organic soil, not happy with it. It wasn't a cheap soil, number one. Let me put it to you that way. It was a raised bed and potting mix. We've got from the GreenStalk company, we got the worm castings. So we're gonna just put some of that in there. It's about a 1/4 cup per tier, just so you, for reference, so you know. So anyway, the soil that we got was an organic soil. Wasn't cheap. It's bad. It's a lot like cement, and that's what the poor strawberries here are in. So we've got a combination of having basically pots that are too small for the strawberries, and then having poor soil. Shoot over here so I can, I'm not going to tip over, put you in the new mulch here. So I'm going to stir in, I put worm castings in here. I'm just gonna mix into the soil a little bit. It's not gonna take a lot, but I just want to shift it down a little. So yeah, we have been unfortunately fighting with it and fighting with it and fighting with it. Things aren't, well, they aren't growing real well. Let me kind of angle. I mean, by now, I should be getting stuff off of that GreenStalk, and it is not the fault of the GreenStalk at all in regards to all of this. Frankly, it's the soil. The soil is a problem. And when you are gardening, honestly, it doesn't even matter if you're just container gardening. You've got bad soil, your plants aren't gonna grow. They're not. There's no way around it. But the needs of a container or of a raised bed are definitely different than in-ground. In-ground can be easier in other ways. And that's part of why we're putting worm castings in this, is to help. Now, see, that's how big the root system is on these guys, and it was trying to go out the hole on this. So these guys definitely need a little bit more room so that they can live their best life. Macy, stop it, please. All right. But yes, containers need more nutrients in the long run. They need more in the way of water, conserve stuffs, so it's going to be things like peat. Some companies use like a coconut core. Just depends upon the soil company's prerogative, I guess you could say. And that's going to help, number one, like I said, with water retention, because you do not have the same amount of depth that you would for in-ground planting. And we definitely don't have the same depth that we have for our cinder block raised beds, which I've got. Oh my gosh, look at that root system on that poor strawberry. Okay, it's a good thing we're up potting, I guess. But our raised beds, they're deeper than most raised beds. They are 2 cinder blocks high. We did that just because it was going to be easier on us. You don't have to lean over near as much. It's not as much work to take care of. Especially if you're not feeling well or you're under the weather. Hopefully none of you get a summer cold like I did. Well, it wasn't a cold. I had a sinus infection. It still stunk in the middle of summer. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, it's easier for care and maintenance. You don't have to worry about weeds getting in it when it's taller that way. But the needs of those beds are even drastically different than containers such as these. So worm castings are a great option. Really great soil, which, let's see if I can, you can see how black that is. And it smells like good soil. So The other one that we had, it's cement in these containers, and we actually had to correct the containers out front, several of those, because our flowers were dying in the front garden. And then 2 of the new cinder block beds that we built, they have that exact same soil, because that was the only organic soil that I could find, guys. Okay? I mean, yeah. I probably should have just gone with a conventional, like Miracle Grow something, but I prefer organic. I like to organic garden. The results overall are just better. But it kind of does go to show you that, you know, sometimes you do have to make do with what you can get in your area. And when you can get something better and that's going to work for you more effectively, go on ahead and take advantage of it. Hence why there's all of this here. And correct what you've done. So if you are in that place where you are just having to make do, that's exactly what we had to do this year. So I completely understand and don't feel any shame in regards to that, because there are quite a few of us out there right now. I'm having to get these, guys. That's the middle reservoir that sits between each tier here. But yeah, all of us, I think, have had to do the whole make do with what you've got thing, and then just wait until you can and improve later. And like I said, don't let anybody shame you, okay? I really do hate garden shamers. Just gonna say that. All right, on to the next one. Okay guys, so that is the leaf GreenStalk planted up and good to go, full of strawberries. Hopefully they'll be a little bit happier in the larger containers and will continue to grow. So guys, as always, keep it simple, natural, and essential, and I will see you on the next video.